Okay, good, okay. Hello, welcome everybody to a really exciting talk on blockchain. About 2.5 months ago, I had a fortune to listen to our speaker today, Rajesh, and at that time, I was hearing the word blockchain from every corner. And I was too shy to even ask anybody what that meant, because yes, we were supposed to know it, I thought. How many of you have familiar with blockchain? Oh, a lot of you. Very good. So Rajesh, you got a mixture here. So some who are well familiar technologists, these are all IEEE, some who are not. So you will have to cater in that manner. But anyway, he helped me clear up my fundamental understanding of blockchain and give you. He also gave several very good examples, which is often missing in many talks on use of blockchain in different types of technologies. Rajesh is a founding member of an angel investment company called 92 Angels. And he says that goes after his being a graduate of IIM, Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad in 1992, and several of his friends together formed this company. Rajesh is also a turnaround specialist. He has turned around a few companies in a very short time. So he comes to us with a very high kind of a background, both technically and from management side and from different industries. Without further ado, I'll open the stage to Rajesh. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll just talk and let me know if you can go towards the end of this room. Are you able to hear me clearly? Yes. All right. And let me know in case if you think I should use the mic, I'll be happy to.
I have a hearing loss. It's better if you use the mic.
All right, okay. Sure.
So that was the back here.
That's something. Leave it at that.
Yeah, I think that's.
That's good. Okay, thank you. Hello. I'm sure this is better. Okay. So it was interesting to see that so many hands went up when he posed that question to you all, like how many of you are familiar with blockchain? And I just want to make sure that with so many hands already up, do you really want to have another session on blockchain?
They wouldn't be here.
No, so the interesting thing is, there's a lot of hype, okay? There's a lot of talk. And the applications that we can still touch and feel are not too many of them. I think I'll probably give, I'll come to the subject of blockchain in a minute. Do want to add a few things about myself here. By no means I am a technologist. Right? Yes, I am an electronics engineer, but I think only by, if we go by academics, right? I did engineering maybe more than 25 years back. Then I did my management. I don't think I have ever written a line of code since I graduated from my engineering college. So that way, I'm not somebody who it should come by itself. I don't know. Okay, let me see.
It looks the
as though the source is a VGA port.
Yeah.
And you want to get the HDMI in there somehow.
From the.
Yeah, in the projector.
Yes.
Just turn it off and turn on, and maybe it will come to that.
Okay, maybe.
There we go.
Okay. So we are in business.
Turn around.
Yep. As I said, you don't need me. All right. So, but I love how technology is affecting the day-to-day lives. Right? I don't think there is any aspect of technology that I don't that I do not get fascinated with. Right? So, even in case of blockchain, my interest was purely from that perspective. I was as much, I would say, on the other side about maybe 1.5 years back, right, trying to understand what blockchain is. The fact is, and I'll share with you how I stumbled into this. Okay. I was running, I was the CEO of a firm called Wide. This firm manufactures software product, policy admin software product for insurance companies. So the likes of AIG and AFLAC, right? These companies, when they run their insurance products, they run on the software products that are manufactured by companies like White. Right? So I was the CEO of that firm, and because my company was in software manufacturing, right? At that point in time, we used to get a quarterly presentation from my innovation team, saying that, hey, these are the newer things that are happening out in the marketplace, and these are the possible implications for our business. So in one of those presentations, somebody talked about blockchain and how this has the potential to change the way even insurance companies work. So that's how I stumbled into it. And interestingly, 3 months later, somebody reached out to me, an organizer from Wharton. I'm also a Wharton alumni. So somebody reached out to me saying that, hey, we are having a blockchain conference and we are looking at industry practitioners, right, and want to get their perspective on how they can apply blockchain in their worlds or in their organization. And since you run a software manufacturing company, it will be interesting to hear your perspective. And until that point in time, the only thing I had known about was, hey, yeah, there is blockchain out there, there is a lot of hype around it, and I had one presentation from one of my engineers who said that we should look at blockchain. And I told the person who had sent me the invitation, give me 1 day's time. Personally, I have this belief, right? I have 2 daughters, and I tell them that the best way, right, to start becoming comfortable with, I would say, uncertain situations, ambiguity, right? Think on your feet, is in the classroom, raise your hand even before the instructor has completed that question. Right? And sit in the front seat. If you have the guts to raise your hand even before the instructor has completed the question, that means you have no choice but to speak up something. Right? It will be half-baked, all right, you will fail. But then be clear that, yeah, I'm not sure I have my ideas formed out, but I will take a shot at it, right? And you're thinking on the fly. And you will not learn it in 1 day's time. Right? I'm not sure how much my daughters have picked it up, because I'm not there to sit in the classroom, but I often make them try and do it in discussions with me. So this was a case where I was in that situation, right? I had an opportunity. I didn't raise my hand, but I had the opportunity to raise my hand even when I had not done, I had not done anything as far as blockchain is concerned. I said, yes, I'll come and speak. I had a 3 months window there. So I obviously, there are some unfair advantages of being a CEO. Right? And the company that I was the CEO of, I left this organization just about 5-6 months back. Right? And thereafter I started this angel investment company. So since I'm talking about the so-called unfair advantage, am I still audible? Yeah. Are you good? Okay. So when I was talking about this so-called unfair advantage, right? So I collected, I would say, some of the best technical minds of my organization. I said, what is the application of blockchain to our business, right? And we got into a room with a whiteboard, and I started going into the details of what blockchain does. And right, as I started peeling the layers, right, of the onion, I started figuring out what exactly it does, and I got fascinated with it. Right. By the time I went to speak at that conference, I think I had started admiring, appreciating, and realizing the potential of blockchain. And I got to a point where I said, hey, this is something that has a huge potential. The hype is certainly worth the potential. Right? And yeah, this is probably my 4th or 5th talk as far as blockchain is concerned. Normally by this time, right, I have been talking on similar subjects in the past. They have to do with security in they have to do with in the technical terms. Now, some of you who have that exposure probably would know things called web services and all of those things. So I normally talk about these subjects. By the time I get to 4th or 5th talk, right, I personally myself and the audience and the industry themselves would have graduated to a level, right, where we would probably not talk about the basics of the technology, but the application of technology. I think blockchain is a lot more complex stuff from that perspective, and I don't think it is catching up as fast, right? So in this 4th or the 5th talk in the last 1 year, right, I'm still sticking to talking about what are the basics of this technology, right? Because that sets the stage, right? And only in the 2nd or the 3rd talk, we go into the applications of blockchain. So in the session that you attended, right, that was we had planned the whole thing in 2 phases, right? The first phase was, and we are going to have the second phase in February, I think it's March, right? So first phase was just introduction of the concept of blockchain, and the second phase was applications. So today what I plan to do is spend a fair bit of time explaining what exactly is blockchain, why is there so much hype, right, when it comes to the concept of blockchain, and we'll talk about some of the applications as far as this is concerned. I just want to start with developing in all of you the appreciation for the possible potential of this technology. Right? So let me just ask you a question. Which is the most popular application of internet? And since you have attended the sessions, I would request you not to get there. But, which is the most popular application of internet?
Video. Netflix.
Say again?
Netflix. Or YouTube.
So those are, they are part of web, right? And that's not internet.
Information, getting information. Browsing, the network browsing.
So please.
Information
Commercial transactions.
No.
Email.
So email. Right. Email is the most powerful, most popular application of internet. The second one, right, is so-called World Wide Web, right? And all other applications that we talk about, the way we understand what we see in our computers or phones or whatever, right? They sit on the World Wide Web, right? Because that information travels on World Wide Web. So for all, what is internet? Internet is nothing but a network of computers, right? And that's why World Wide Web writes on it, email writes on it again. Blockchain is the third one. So I want you to just realize the significance of what are we talking here, right? We have email, we have World Wide Web, and now a third one called blockchain. Given the potential that has been demonstrated by the first two, if blockchain is even half of that, right? Even then, it's a massive application, right? It can probably have that kind of a transformative effect. We have seen what email has done, right? But more importantly, what World Wide Web has done, right? So that's the potential power of blockchain. Right? Whosoever, I would say, invented it, right? It's a work of a genius. Right? There is a paper out there, right, which was written by the founder, okay, which was written for Bitcoin, and I'm sure all of you are probably familiar with it. Satoshi is the name used by the inventor who actually came up with it. The name is Japanese per se, and there have been lots of conspiracy theories whether whether it is one person, whether it is a group of 8 people, whether it's institution, it's a military body, right, which does not want to talk about it. There have been hints that have been left in the original code where there is a British newspaper's headline that has been shown there for a particular date. So all kinds of stuff is there, but still nobody knows who this person is, right? And interestingly, so this paper was written in 2008. Interestingly, 2011, that person said, I am done with this blockchain, I'm moving on to other subjects. He or she, don't know, stopped any correspondence, and since then has disappeared. Right? So I don't know whether we'll ever know who put this together. Right? But I would strongly encourage, please read that 8-page document, which basically explains. So while the paper was written from a Bitcoin perspective, but obviously we all know Bitcoin rides on
blockchain.
We all know Bitcoin rides on blockchain, right? So it is that paper which essentially constructed step by step, right? And the whole theory that is behind blockchain. Okay. All right, this is something that I already covered. Okay, for all practical, that I believe in this, whether it stays in this form or it takes, it morphs into something different. It's only time will tell, but I clearly see it as the next internet application.
Is this an application or this is the next version of internet?
No, so internet is just collection of computers, right? Nothing more than that. I won't mix internet with World Wide Web, right? So blockchain is still a software system riding on the underlying infrastructure, which is collection of computers, which we call internet. So what you have is, right, a collection of lots of servers and computers connected with each other, right? They are connected globally. That connection of computers is called internet. Period.
But this is decentralizing about that. That's what it is.
No, it doesn't do anything with internet. Internet is what? It's a platform. It's a collection of computers. It is a software application sitting on top or using, right, this collection of computers called internet. Just the way email, right, uses so if my computer, if I have to write an email to you, all right, and so as soon as I say send, right, there are a series of servers, right, globally, right, which decipher, okay, where is this message coming from, and where is it supposed to go. All this is done by this collection of computers called internet, right, and there are different, I would say, interpreters which interpret messages and accordingly directs them. Right? So just the way email uses probably a language, maybe some kind of addresses, internet addresses or whatever to transmit the message from me to you, right? Likewise, there is World Wide Web, right? We write www.epson.com, right? And there are various DNS servers or various kinds of servers which will decode what this means, where is the information on epson.com sitting, then the message will be directed there. From there, the information will come back, and I start seeing the homepage of epson.com. Then I click on the link out there. Where as soon as I click the link, right, that link has an IP address, right? As soon as I click, that IP address goes from my computer back to a server, which then goes to that address, right, and connects me to that address, and the information from that address comes back to my computer, right? So what is happening in the World Wide Web? That's why it is called web. It's all a web of various computers, right, connected through this protocol called HTTP, right? And it is a software web sitting on the set of computers called internet. Just like email is not exactly a software setup, but email also uses the underlying internet, right, to transmit the message from me to you. Okay. Blockchain also uses that underlying internet. That's why we are calling it the killer application on internet. Right. Now, various other applications, whether it is YouTube or Netflix or Amazon or whatever we talk about, they sit on top of World Wide Web. Right. And then there are different layers. Okay, but they are all sitting on top of these 2 or 3 core applications that we talk about. If there was no World Wide Web, there is no way there would have been a Netflix or a YouTube. It cannot exist. There has to be a platform that rides on underlying internet. So this is a basic concept, right, which is more to highlight what is blockchain. Are we all on the same page? Yes. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of blockchain, right? Why is it such a fascinating thing, right? Other than, because of it being a killer application, there is huge potential, we should be interested, but let's park that aside, right? Let's park aside the business reasons or what future holds for us. Let's get to the core of blockchain as a technology. What does it do, right? It basically removes intermediaries, right? It allows, right, Madhav and me to have a direct transaction, right? Okay, my phone somewhere, right? Let's take this good. Right. Yeah, sure. And here he is trying to sell this pen to me. Okay, and he says this is this is gold plated, right? And this is. Say again.
Montblanc.
Yeah. Okay. And will cost you $1,000, right? And how do I trust? Okay, first and foremost, does it even belong to you? You prove it to me, right? It starts with that, right? I don't know, right? So one is that you have to show me that yes, it belongs to you. 2, you have to show me that yes, it is what you are saying it is, right? And then those are the 2 things that have to be proven before I can buy, right? And how does that happen? He would show me a receipt bought from, I don't know, Nordstrom or wherever you bought this pen from, right? Saying that, hey, see, I bought it from them, okay? So the trust is coming from that receipt, okay? There is a third body, right, which is providing the receipt. Or we go to the airport, we show our passport, right? That passport identifies that, yes, I am Rajesh.